to my channel. I'm sorry I haven't really been posting anything. I had a very hard time processing the information about my autism diagnosis. So I thought I would read my diagnosis, and Mom went through and crossed out everything that's personal that I'm not allowed to say, so I don't actually say it because I have a really bad habit of doing that. So she went through and crossed out everything. So I'm gonna read the things that I can read without giving away things that are personal, so that you guys can get an understanding of what it is, kind of, I guess. So yeah. So it also has things from 2013 because I went to the same evaluator that diagnosed me in 2013 to do this diagnosis. So yeah, and I'll let you know which ones are 2013 and which ones are. And if I can't pronounce a word, I'll try to spell it if I remember. So the interview of me in 2013 was, at age 13 years, Mary reported an interest in Disney characters and stories. She stated the kids in her class are nice, but were not nice last year. We're teasing and mean. That's because I was held back in 6th grade because my parents literally just didn't want me to go to middle school. It wasn't an actual reason. My foster parents just didn't want me to go. In 2013, she had friends and was able to give specific names. Impressions of Mary's behavior during the interactions are described as animated, immature, younger mannerisms. Her best subjects are social studies and science. She does not like mathematics. Mary said that when she is home, she likes to read vampire fantasies. Mary's speech patterns were pressured and she was not able to limit her speech without redirection. I was obsessed with Twilight at this point. I would like read and watch Twilight every single day. It's kind of sad now that I think about it, because that movie's so weird. Alright, so this one, for this year, in May of 2022, Mary stated she wanted to provide information that more accurately reflect her experiences according to her current memories. It was her statement before she was last seen by this evaluator. She had chronic post-traumatic stress disorder and severe anxiety that resulted in rapid heartbeat or tachycardia. That's my supraventricular tachycardia that's talking about. She indicates she has memories of the day when her sister passed away. Mary recalled being in 2 foster homes after the age of 3 years, then entering a children's shelter program. She and an older sister were living in that residence. She recalled her older sister as mean and mistreating her. Other difficult memories included being locked in small spaces. One time I was locked in an attic. She recalled her mother visiting with her and spending time with her outdoors. Other childhood memories include fishing with her biological father and carving pumpkins. That is the last time I ever saw him. And it was when I was 5 years old. Those are the last 2 visits I had with him. That's the only reason I remember it. Mary recalls her time with the foster family as very stressful and equivalent to emotional abuse. One of her reactions was scratching her arms. The mistreatment cited by Mary included being locked outdoors, threatened to have her removed from the home, and statements adoptive parents wished they never adopted her, as well as telling her she was a very difficult and problematic child. Her foster parents removed her from public school and placed her in an online school program. That was when I was in 9th grade. Mary then did not have contact with her prior friends. Mary recalls completing her education through cyber school and was able to receive a high school diploma in 2020, 2 years ago. That's right, I graduated during COVID with no ceremony or prom or anything. In 12th grade, she had an individual education program, or an IEP, for learning and emotional support. I saw a therapist twice a week from school, as well as seeing a therapist outside of school. Mary left her foster residence when she was age 18. She went to live with her biological mother. Mary and her mother lived in a studio apartment together until November 2021. They had to move as the building was being repurposed. They moved to their current setting. Yes, we no longer live in a studio apartment, and that is a story for another time that I will tell. In November 2013 and currently, Mary reports no experience of hearing voices or visual hallucination. Mary has self-destructive impulses in psychiatric treatment program, but no plan or method. She reports she does not have aggressive impulses or plans. Severe anxiety is associated with perceptions that people are talking about her being at risk of injury and dying. Yes, I'm very paranoid about people talking about me. I'm very paranoid about getting hurt or dying. It is a constant fear. It's also a constant fear that someone I love is going to get hurt or die, like 24/7. Mary is concerned with medical complaints of tachycardia and a history of a heart murmur. She recalled individual therapy when younger, stated it was not helpful. Mary said she was not prescribed medication for behavior or emotions in 2013 and did not report being abused or mistreated. Mary was given 3 imaginary wishes in 2013. She would like to have a wolf dog, my little sister to be alive and not dead. Those are exact quotes. And her 3rd wish to meet everyone from the Twilight series and that they would be real. Because 13-year-old me was really into Twilight there. Mary provided the current information that she does not have any significant use of alcohol or drugs, including marijuana. Frequent use of alcohol is not for months at a time. Sleep is affected by bad dreams and insomnia. There are occasions when she cannot enter sleep. When she is able to sleep, she has alternate periods of sleep and wakefulness. Her medication, trazodone, is helpful. On occasion, she uses Benadryl, which is also effective. Yeah, I can't sleep without Benadryl or trazodone. Trazodone is as needed, and Benadryl is for my allergies. And sometimes I just take it at night because my allergies get worse at night. So I just take it, and then it makes me go to sleep, so I don't take the trazodone. Her sleep schedule is currently from 1 or 2 a.m. with waking from around 9 to 11 a.m. Mary describes her appetite as variable, being very picky and preferring only 5 types of food and 5 types of drinks. It is her perception that her memories of her emotional mistreatment by foster parents constitute abuse. She also felt some staff members at different residential settings were abusive to her, or she was traumatized by observing them interacting directly with other clients. Mary reports she does not have a history of arrest or criminal charges. She has been participating in individual counseling with a therapist, psychologist, and case manager. The therapist she has been engaged with from August 2021 has been more effective than others. Current medications include one similar to Benadryl and a mechanism of action. It's hydroxyzine or something. It's an as-needed medication. She had other medication prescribed in the past but reports problematic side effects, also known as I was allergic. Psychiatric hospitalizations include 4 stays, with the last September 22nd, 2017. These were usually associated with emotional breakdowns and suicidal thoughts. Mary identifies current recreation is working on an internet channel, watching internet videos, also on YouTube, investigating and focusing on information that involves dinosaurs, training and walks with her service dog. Social interactions include talking with an acquaintance on the internet and visiting with them once per year. She's not an acquaintance, she's my best friend. I don't know why it says acquaintance, she's my best friend. Otherwise, she interacts with her sister, who was with her in the residential program, an aunt, and her mother. Yeah, that's how big my social circle is, in case you're wondering. Don't forget Betty! Mary recalls her last employment was for a couple of weeks at a food service business. She left when an uncle passed away. Mary has an interest in further vocational training and working as a veterinary technician. Yes, my uncle died in December and I haven't worked since. So, that's fun. I don't think it was it was a couple of weeks. That's right. Improving social environment is impacted by the fear of meeting new people due to past rejections. Medical conditions have most recently been tachycardia and heart murmurs. Mary's typical daily schedule is to be up around 10 or 11 a.m. and then speaking with her sibling. At noon, she takes her service dog out and prepares food for herself and her service animal. She may call to ask her mother about plans after her mother's work be done. What? That's a grammar error. It says after her mother's work be. It's supposed to be after her mother's work. And then watches television, possibly a cartoon. Her mother is usually home around 3:30 or 4 p.m. They have a daily tradition of going to a department store where Mary picks up a snack she prefers to obtain fresh each day. Now that's important because that's how particular I am about my food. She and her mother prepare dinner. Mary may work on her internet video channel and then watches internet programming with her mother. When they are done, Mary will go to her room and watch other content such as Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, my favorite show of all time. Observations of processing and test notes / observations found consistent effort. Mary was wearing glasses to aid her vision. Observations of working memory tasks found difficulty with sequences. Numbers were recalled out of order or partially correct. Attention and memory organization difficulties affected arithmetic processing and recall of general information. This is a quick neurological screening test of 2013. There's a bunch of numbers that I don't understand and don't want to read because it's...
Stopped your video?
It said network lock. I don't know what the hell that was. It said it's still taping, but it says network lock. What the hell? Anyway. Alright, there's quick neurological screening in 2013. There's a lot of different things, but I don't think it's important. Basically, I had suspicious findings for neurological impairment, and then there was a wide achievement test too, and it seems like I was fine with that, but it's a lot of numbers that I don't want to read. Alright, so this is the summary of information. Mary was last evaluated at age 13 years. Her developmental history available at the time includes significant risk factors. The primary difficulties noted for Mary in the adopted family home were extended tantrum behavior, excessive activity levels interfering with ability to concentrate or maintain focus on tasks, poor social awareness, and developing adequate levels of maturity for age and educational participation. Mary's adjustment appeared to be affected by annual cycles assumed to relate to the death of a sibling. Prominent features of Mary's behaviors were pressured speech and racing thoughts. The behaviors and observations were constant with Asperger's disorder / autism spectrum disorder combined with a mood and or attention disorder. A post-traumatic stress reaction should be considered as a contributing factor. Positive aspects of Mary's function is their November 2013 was socially appropriate language, overall social responsiveness. Mary's communication skills were well developed, although impacted by her racing thoughts and pressured speech. The current interaction with Mary found an alert and well-spoken 21-year-old Caucasian female. Mary has traumatic memories of her childhood and adolescence. She was placed in foster care prior to school age and resided in a children's shelter program before transferred to the foster home where she was last seen by this evaluator. Mary related perceptions of emotional mistreatment by foster parents. She was given the impression she was a problem rather than receiving compassion and affection. Emotional reactions to stress caused Mary to be admitted to a psychiatric program on 4 occasions during her adolescence. She experienced feelings of suicide and was depressed and anxious. Mary did not have the opportunity to establish lasting friendships. When she had associations, she had difficulty staying in positive relationships. After she graduated from high school and on reaching the age of independence, Mary saw her biological mother and had been living together for the past 3+ years. The patterns of social adjustment challenges had continued as Mary has experienced emotional conflicts and reactions in employment positions and social relationships outside of nuclear family members. The primary barriers to increasing dependent skills and vocational activities are identified as hypersensitivity to certain social and environmental stimuli, avoidance of social situations, and potentially distressing environments. Mary has developed avoidant behavior patterns which has become habitual. Her sleep and wake schedules are not productive. Daily activities are focused more on avoidance of stress than seeking improved lifestyle quality due to fear, stress, and emotional loss of control. Even with her current limited activities, Mary reports emotional outbursts from 1 to 5 times per week. Current test results find Mary with an average cognitive ability in verbal skills and reason. Visual and perceptual tasks are more difficult. Use of working memory is focal area of lower capacity. An underlying attention deficit is related to past stress, current anxiety, and the tendency to race in thoughts and accelerated emotions. Mary's personality characteristics have become more severely limited by her autism spectrum symptoms. Functional behavior status is highly restricted. I'm sorry. It's difficult for me to read out loud for long periods of time. Hold on. Mary's personality characteristics have become more severely limited by her autism spectrum symptoms. Functional behavior status is highly restricted and well below the expected status for her age. Mary's intellectual testing in 2013 found higher level skills in verbal than in visual motor ability. The difference between these two dimensions was of significant nature and consistent with determination of a learning disability. Their current testing findings are similar. The full IQ score should be considered with caution due to average level verbal ability pertaining to learning and comprehension, while perception, organization, and working memory are primarily difficult for Mary. A neurological screening procedure found evidence of neurological disturbance at a suspicious level in 2013, with different screening process also indicating borderline concerns, again related to work and memory functions. Mary's basic academic achievement compared to expectations for children of her age was average in 2013. This was not reassessed in the current encounter. Mary was diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder previously, and this continues to be her primary diagnosis with additional attention to emotional factors present. Mary's relatively healthy adaptive function in November 2013 was determined to be a combination of positive intellectual ability interacting with Asperger's disorder / autism spectrum disorder and possible early childhood trauma. Current adaptive function is highly impaired due to her emotional consequences of her autism disorder in combination with anxiety and mood variables. So we looked this up. So adaptive function is being able to take care of yourself and doing like daily life things by yourself. Alright, so the things that I am officially diagnosed with from this is autism spectrum disorder, generalized anxiety disorder, and avoidant personality disorder. So now I'm going to read the recommendations that he gave us so that you understand more why this was so overwhelming. So Mary will benefit from continuing individual cognitive behavioral therapy, focusing on strategies to improve social tolerance, improve tolerance of frustration, and reduce social anxiety resulting in avoidance and isolation. Because apparently I self-isolate. The second one is identify avenues to help Mary focus on improvements in specific or focused areas of independence. Examples are manage your money and making minor independent purchases. Number 3 is while Mary's focus on fantasy-related material provides her with high levels of involvement as a leisure activity, it will also be important to help Mary focus on pragmatic issues in her environment. This has been an area of reduced awareness and ability to transfer her focus when needed. These issues can be identified as operating appropriate appliances, plan for activities she may be more independently involved in, such as cleaning and laundry, planning an outing with the use of community resources such as a park, and developing an understanding of more direct activities which have a focus of involving maturity, reality orientation, and preparing Mary for future independent responsibilities. Number 4 is role-playing with slow transition to community practice of specific skills can represent a supportive avenue to social tolerance and progress for improving quality of life. Number 5 is Mary can benefit from her orientation that she will need to have a certain level of independent capacity in preparation for the future when her mother will not be able to provide the level of intense support Mary is currently accustomed to. Number 6 is a plan may be helpful to enable Mary to identify goals and set objectives to the long term. The plan was emphasize basic independent needs and areas: work, housing, rent, finances, health, maintenance, and recreation. 7 is create a written description. This is if I'm going to have a job, this is what his recommendation is at B. And this is the most upsetting one to me. Create a written description of the work environment that may be best fit for Mary's emotional and personal temperament. Examples: location nearby or home-based, availability of her service animal, low-level distractions, one primary supervisor who will have a good understanding of Mary's special accommodations, low levels of visual, spatial, and mathematic tasks, etc. If this can be interfaced with her interest in veterinary work, it would be an advantage, possibly a nighttime animal hospital or animal hotel / boarding agency. That means I need a lot of accommodations to even have a job. So, that's the whole thing. And 8 is anxiety related to changing expectations, creating emotional disorganization, or being overwhelmed can be approached by having a predetermined and highly consistent set of tasks and responsibilities where there is little need for Mary to make rapid adjustments or be distracted by interacting with multiple supervisors / coworkers. So, yeah, so that's the part of the test that is not too personal for me to read to you. There's a lot more, but the memory thing, from what we looked up, it means the part of your memory that's always working doesn't work right for me. Like the thing that takes things and turns it into long-term or short-term memory doesn't work right for me. So it's like, the way he explained it, it's like basically my brain's a hat and then it just puts things randomly in there and randomly pulls it out, like at different intervals. It's not even in order or anything. I'm pretty sure that test was, he gave me a set of numbers and I had to repeat it back to him, and he made a comment that's interesting because I went from the last thing, got all the middle ones mixed up, missed some, and then did the first thing. whereas a normal person will go from first to last and not mix anything up. So I am in the process of getting seeing a neurologist to get a neurological evaluation to make sure there's nothing else going on and that it's not serious or anything. But that's what that means. And yeah, I don't really know what a lot of the other stuff mean because we have to see what my therapist says, as well as my doctor and everything else, just to make sure we actually understand it before I tell you guys what it means. But yeah, so that is the part of my autism test that I am okay with sharing. If you have any questions about what the test was like or anything, just leave it in the comments down below and I'll answer it. Or if you have any questions about what this says, let me know and I'll answer it too. Please like and subscribe, and I'm sure I'll make another video at some point this week. Don't know when though, because I'm still really stressed out from this. But at some point I will. Alright, bye!